Hi, I'm Delaney. Family has always been complicated for me, but I never thought they'd literally leave me bleeding in my uncle's old barn while my cousin Vanessa's wedding reception went on just 100 yards away. The worst part? It wasn't an accident. Dell, I need a huge favor, Vanessa had said 3 weeks before the wedding, her voice honey-sweet in that way that always preceded a demand. We were sitting at her kitchen island, surrounded by wedding magazines and sample centerpieces. What kind of favor? I asked cautiously. You know Uncle Roy's barn? The one he fixed up? I need someone to string lights in there for the wedding photos. You're the only one tall enough who isn't afraid of heights. I raised an eyebrow. Van, that's a two-person job at minimum. Please, Connor would do it, but he's busy with the groomsmen stuff. Mom's freaking out about everything else. She reached across the table, gripping my hand. You're the only one I trust to make it perfect. I sighed. Fine, but you owe me. You're the best! Oh, and wear something understated to the ceremony. Navy or gray, maybe? Nothing that stands out. My brother Jake laughed when I told him later that night over dinner at my apartment. Classic Vanessa, always finding ways to make sure she's the only one people notice. What's that supposed to mean? I asked, jabbing my fork into my pasta. Come on, Dell. Remember your graduation party? She showed up 2 hours late, crying about some fake breakup. Or your art show opening, when she accidentally knocked over that display? I shrugged. She's high maintenance, but she's family. She's jealous of you, Jake said flatly. Always has been. You're taller, smarter, and don't need to manipulate everyone to feel important. It's her wedding. Let her have her moment. Just watch your back, Jake warned. The day before the wedding, I arrived at Uncle Roy's property to hang the lights. The barn had been renovated years ago, but still smelled like hay and aged wood. Need any help with those lights, darlin'? Uncle Roy called as I unloaded my car. I've got it, thanks, I replied, wrestling with the tangled strands. Vanessa sure has you working hard, he observed, leaning against my car. Strange she didn't ask Connor or her brothers to help. That ladder's rickety as hell. I shrugged. She said they're busy with groomsmen stuff. Uncle Roy frowned. Odd, since I saw them all fishing at the pond an hour ago. That should have been my first warning. The wedding day arrived, and I was exhausted from staying up late finishing the lights. I wore a simple navy dress as instructed and sat in the back row during the ceremony. At the reception, Vanessa grabbed my arm as I reached for a canapé. Dell, the lights in the barn are flickering. Could you check before we do photos? Now? Can't someone else? Please? Her eyes narrowed slightly. Everyone else is busy with guests. 20 minutes later, I was climbing that rickety ladder again, reaching for connections that seemed perfectly fine. Hello? Is anyone up there? A voice called from below. I looked down to see Vanessa's best friend Melissa staring up at me. Vanessa sent me to check if you need help, she said, not making a move to actually help. I'm fine. The lights seem... Suddenly, Melissa's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then at me, her expression shifting. Actually, Van needs me back at the reception. But she said to make sure you check the very top beam before you come back. As she left, I noticed she locked the barn door behind her. I reached higher, stretching toward the final connection. That's when I felt the ladder shift. In slow motion, I felt myself falling backward, the ancient wood giving way beneath me. My head struck something hard on the way down. The last thing I heard before losing consciousness was the distant sound of wedding music and the unmistakable click of a camera phone. I woke up to the sound of Jake's voice, panicked and echoing in the barn. Delaney, oh my God! Dell, can you hear me? My head throbbed and something warm trickled down my temple. I tried to move, but pain shot through my left arm. Don't move, Jake said, kneeling beside me. I've called 911. How long was I out? My voice sounded strange to my own ears. I don't know. I've been looking for you for almost 2 hours. The reception's almost over. 2 hours? I whispered. No one came to check on me? Jake's face hardened. Vanessa told everyone you'd left early with a headache. The paramedics arrived, confirming a concussion and a broken wrist. At the hospital, Jake sat beside my bed while a detective took my statement. "So you were alone when the accident occurred?" Detective Harlow asked, her pen poised over her notepad. "Yes, but Melissa, Vanessa's maid of honor, was there right before. She locked the door when she left." "Locked you in?" The detective's eyebrows rose. "I didn't think about it then, but yes." "And no one came to check on you for 2 hours?" Jake interjected. "I found this on the reception's Instagram page an hour ago." He held up his phone, showing a photo of Vanessa and several bridesmaids laughing outside the barn. The caption read, "Some people will do anything for attention on someone else's big day. #drama queen #wedding fail." "When was this posted?" Detective Harlow asked. "About 20 minutes after Dell fell. There's more." Jake swiped to another photo. Me lying unconscious, blood on the barn floor. It had been deleted, but not before Jake had screenshotted it. The detective's expression darkened. "I'd like to speak with Vanessa and Melissa." 3 days later, I was released from the hospital with a cast and lingering headaches. My phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Connor. "Dell, we need to talk. Coffee at Park Place in an hour?" Connor was waiting when I arrived, fidgeting with his napkin. "How are you feeling?" he asked, unable to meet my eyes. "Like I fell off a ladder and was left unconscious for hours," I replied dryly. He winced. "Look, I need to tell you something. The day before the wedding, I overheard Vanessa and Melissa talking." "About what?" "About you. Vanessa was mad that you upstaged her at the engagement party. Said you were always trying to steal her spotlight with your perfect face and everyone loves Delaney personality." "That's ridiculous," I said. "I barely spoke to anyone at that party." "I know, but she was furious that her parents kept talking about your new job instead of the wedding." Connor leaned forward. "She said she had a plan to keep you out of the pictures." "By nearly killing me?" Connor shook his head. "I don't think she meant for you to get hurt that badly. But Dell, there's something else. I saw Melissa mess with that ladder before you used it." My blood ran cold. "You saw her do what?" "Loosen some screws. I thought she was fixing it, but now—" He pulled out his phone. "I have it on video. I was recording some pre-wedding stuff for a surprise montage." The shaky footage clearly showed Melissa tampering with the ladder, glancing over her shoulder nervously. "Why are you showing me this now?" I demanded. Connor looked miserable. "Family loyalty at first. But what they did was wrong. And now Vanessa's telling everyone you're making it all up for attention." As I left the cafe, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Back off or things will get worse. Some accidents can't be survived. M." 1 week after the wedding, I stood on Aunt Patricia's doorstep, Jake beside me for support. We could hear laughter inside, the post-honeymoon celebration for Vanessa and her new husband. "You sure about this?" Jake asked quietly. I nodded, my cast a stark reminder against my black dress. "Absolutely." Aunt Patricia opened the door, her smile faltering. "Delaney, we weren't expecting you." "Clearly," I replied, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. The room fell silent as I walked in. Vanessa sat at the center of the family gathering, opening gifts. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Dell, you're up and about. We've been so worried," she exclaimed, voice dripping with fake concern. "Have you?" I asked, my voice steady. "Funny way of showing it." Uncle Roy stepped forward. "Now, Delaney, I know you've had a rough time, but today is about celebrating. A wedding where the bride left her cousin bleeding on the ground and posted pictures of it online?" I interrupted. "Yeah, let's celebrate that." Melissa stood up, face flushed. "You should leave. You're just jealous and trying to ruin Vanessa's special time." "Jealous of what, Melissa? Being a person who would sabotage a ladder, lock someone in a barn, and leave them unconscious?" I pulled out my phone. "Connor showed me the video of you tampering with the ladder." The room erupted in murmurs. Vanessa's husband looked between his new wife and me with growing concern. "That's ridiculous," Vanessa snapped. "Connor would never—" "I did," Connor said, stepping into the room behind us. And I've given the same video to the police. Vanessa lunged to her feet. You're all trying to ruin my life. It was just supposed to be a joke. You weren't supposed to actually get hurt. A joke? I echoed. I have a concussion and a broken wrist. You've always had everything handed to you, Vanessa shouted. Everyone loves perfect Delaney. For once, I wanted a day where you didn't steal my spotlight. By nearly killing me? Don't be so dramatic, Melissa interjected. We came back to check on you. After 2 hours, Jake countered. After posting photos of her unconscious and bleeding. Vanessa's mother stepped forward. There's been a misunderstanding. I'm sure if we all calm down. The only misunderstanding, I said clearly, is that you thought I'd let this go. Vanessa's face twisted with rage. She grabbed a vase from the table and hurled it at me. Jake pulled me aside just in time as it shattered against the wall. You ungrateful bitch, Vanessa screamed. I'll make sure you regret this. No one will believe you over me. Detective Harlow chose that moment to step into the doorway, having arrived with Connor. Actually, Miss Reynolds, I believe we have more than enough evidence and witnesses now. You set me up, Vanessa hissed at me as the detective approached her. No, I replied calmly. You did that yourself. All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Wilson presiding. 3 months after the wedding, I sat in the courtroom watching as Vanessa and Melissa faced charges of reckless endangerment and failure to render aid. The evidence was overwhelming. Connor's video, the social media posts, text messages, and multiple witness statements. During a recess, Vanessa's husband, now ex-husband, approached me in the hallway. I wanted to apologize, he said awkwardly. I had no idea what she was capable of. None of us did, I replied. Or maybe we all did and just ignored the signs. The divorce was finalized yesterday, he added. I couldn't stay married to someone who would do something like that. When court resumed, Vanessa's attorney attempted a last-ditch effort. Your Honor, my client recognizes the severity of what began as a thoughtless prank. She wishes to make amends and is prepared to offer a full apology to her cousin. The judge looked at me. Miss Harper, would you be amenable to hearing this apology? I stood slowly. With respect, Your Honor, I'm not interested in an apology that comes only when facing consequences. What happened wasn't a prank. It was deliberate harm motivated by years of jealousy. Vanessa stood up. Del, please. We're family. I'm truly sorry. Family doesn't leave family bleeding on the ground for Instagram likes, I interrupted. Your apology means nothing to me. The judge nodded. Very well. This court finds both defendants guilty. Vanessa received 6 months in county jail with 3 years probation. Melissa got community service and probation. More importantly, the restraining order I requested was granted. Outside the courthouse, Jake put his arm around my shoulders. How do you feel? He asked. Lighter, I replied honestly. Like I can finally see things clearly. Uncle Roy approached hesitantly. Delaney, I want you to know not all of us sided with Vanessa. Some of us just didn't want to believe what was right in front of us. That's part of the problem, Uncle Roy. Enabling her all these years led to this. My phone buzzed, a text from my new boss confirming my start date next week at the architectural firm 3 states away. You're really moving? Connor asked, overhearing my conversation. Fresh start, I confirmed. Some family ties aren't worth preserving. Detective Harlow shook my hand before I left. Not many victims have your courage, standing up to family like that. I've learned that real family doesn't try to harm you, I replied, and those who do don't deserve the title. That evening, my apartment filled with friends and supportive relatives for a goodbye dinner. Jake raised his glass. To Delaney, who taught us all that standing up for yourself isn't just about fighting back. It's about knowing when to walk away. As conversations flowed around me, I looked at the faces of those who had stood by me and those who had stepped up when the truth emerged. The family I chose, not the family I was born into. What would you do if someone who was supposed to love you tried to hurt you? Would you find the courage to seek justice, even if it meant losing relationships along the way? Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting free.